Growth and decay. Moving right along in the middle of our exponential functions unit. Let's dive right in and take a look at our first problem. Write the constant multiplier for the situation below, increasing 41% in temperature each month. So a reminder about our exponential function equation, the Daniel-Hoffman y equals b times m to the x function, where b is our beginning number and m is our multiplier. We're going to practice writing multipliers now where we have situations that increase by percent. Well, in order to go from a percent to a decimal, which is what we need to do ultimately, we need to take our percent and do the following things with it. Because percent always starts at 100, that's the first thing we type. Then we follow directions by asking ourselves, are we adding or are we subtracting given the situation going on in the problem? For instance, number 1 says increasing. Increasing is a word that means plus. So I type a plus sign. And then how should I word this? What is the percentage that I am increasing? In this case, 41. So we get 141%, but we need to turn that into a decimal. And so for this assignment, after you get the percent, do what you should do every time, which is divide by 100 to get the corresponding decimal. Whatever you get is your answer for what will end up being your constant multiplier later in the assignment for word problems. And you could leave your Desmos calculator up to practice, like this 1 through 5 or 1 through 6 that does this exact same thing. Number 2 says decreasing 34%. So now I start at 100, but instead of adding, I'm going to minus 34. And then I'm going to replace this 141 now with 66 to get 0.66, or just 0.66. So you start at 100 each time. If it's increasing, other words that mean add, you add. If it's decreasing or other words that mean subtract, you subtract. And I'm going to help you through each one of these in case you don't know what a vocabulary word means. For instance, number 3 says gaining. If I gain weight, I'm adding pounds to my body. That means plus. So I'm going to plus, and I'm 58% more. So then I go up here and replace my 66 with 158. 1.58. And now that you see the pattern, maybe you can do this in your head. Like the next one says losing. Losing is a subtraction. So 100 minus 66. Can you do that in your head? Maybe you knew it was 34. So then you could just see it's 0.34. You're just moving that decimal space over 2 spots. And yet I want to show you all the steps in case you are still needing that out there. I always want to either show you more than you need or just the right amount. I never want to show you less because that's where some deep confusion happens. Depreciating. This might be a new word for you. Depreciating. Well, if it's got this DE in front like decreasing, it means subtract. So 100 minus 69 is 31. So we got 0.31. Now remember, this whole time it's to prepare you to write a multiplier later. Lots of times people do not make the transition from 6 to the rest of these problems, so I'm going to keep reminding you as we go. There's a purpose to this. Appreciating is the opposite of depreciating. If I appreciate you, I'm giving you positive encouragement. I'm adding something. Just like if a stock or other financial situation appreciates, it means it gains money. All right, 1 through 6. If you've done this much, then that is a very relevant thing. You're 6 out of 10 through your problem. Now we're going to apply this to the last 4. Number 7 says, examine the exponential function f of x equals 21 times 117 to the x power. Start value is, remember that's always your first number, so for me that's 21. Your multiplier is 1.17. Oh, so just like this situation over here, remember, if it's above 1, that means it's appreciating or it's growing. So it's growth. And it's growth not because of the start value. It has nothing to do with the start value. Ignore anything that says start value. You have two options here. It's either because the constant multiplier is greater than 1, or on your screen, it could instead say that the growth rate is greater than 0. So one of these two answers right now, you should select either the constant multiplier greater than 1 or the growth rate's greater than 0. Once you have done that, hit play, but hit pause until you do. And what is this weird? This looks like a hand, like the magic hand. Shout out Super Smash Brothers. All right, what percent is it growing? Well, remember, if it's growing by 57%, it ends up being 1.57. So if it's 1.17, that means it's growing by 17%. And we just put in the digits as always, no percent sign. That'll mess it up. All right, number 8. What a weird name for a musical group. The Big Banana Band, insert jokes now, sold 2,200 downloads of their top song. What do you think the Big Banana Band's top song would be called? Peeling Out, Potassium is Okay, Fruit by the Banana, Minions Aren't Just for Us. I don't know. There's lots of banana. Smoothie and Pudding. Give me that vanilla wafer. Maybe you can type your favorite suggestion below. Anyway, they predict their sales will increase 1%. So right off the bat, I'm in my calculator. I start with 100. It's going to increase 1. So 101. My multiplier is going to end up being 1.01. Remember, the whole point of this is to prepare for a multiplier. I'm going to type that in right away so I don't get confused. Start value is how many downloads they started with, 2,200. And we put an X up there. And now we can plug in something for X into our calculator. They will sell roughly blank downloads in month 10. So let's come over here. Let's type in 2,200. Notice I'm not doing the Y equals, just the right side. 1.01. And then where's my to the X power? You can either hit Shift 6 or you can type this button right here. And I want month 10. So you type in whatever this number matches. We're going to have to pay very close attention to the rounding in these next 3 problems. The next 2 are going to talk about money, so we're going to do the nearest hundredth. But because the download, if you know how downloads work, you either have a full download or you have nothing. So for this problem, just ignore the decimal completely. I'm going to stick my big arrow over this, and I just have 2430. 2430. It might accept 2431 too, but in doubt, just type in, ignoring the decimal, what's your whole number? Because I know that'll work. All right, that was 1 through 8. Let's do 9 and 10, then we'll be done. Number 9, it's another car problem. A reminder here that cars are not investments. They lose money. They depreciate, which means go down. We've been over this. So you can start with a $24,000 car. It's a very expensive car, especially if you're a teenager getting your first car. And we want to, right off the bat, figure out our multiplier. So I'm going to subtract 7 because it's depreciating. So I have 93 out of 100. That's 0.93. I'm going to bring this over a little bit so you can see that calculation. There you go. And then we type in X here, as we always do. Rounded to the nearest cent, Michael's car will be worth blank in 7 years. So we're going to plug in a 7 for our equation, for our exponent. But now we're starting with a $24,000 car, and my multiplier is 0.93. So I fill this in, and I need to now round to the nearest cent. Anytime we see that, we got to think 2 decimal places, the hundredth. So I come over here, I remind myself, I say it's going to be $14,440 and either 82 cents or 83 cents. To figure out what this number is, I look to the right of this line here. If that number is 5 or above, I give it a shove up to 83. If it's 4 or below, then I leave it a low. No. This is a 0. It's as low as it goes. Definitely not 5 or above, so I leave it a low. No. To 14,440.82. 14,440.82. All right. And then number 10, Tasha deposits $300 in an account that earns 5% annual interest. Earns means increases. If she does not make any other deposits or withdrawals round to the nearest cent, she will have blank in her account after 3 years. So we are going to figure out that multiplier first by adding 5. She's got 105. I figure out what that is as a decimal, 1.05. So then I could fill in my equation here. She starts with $300. She has a multiplier of 1.05. And it is after 3 years, so I need to plug in a 3 for my exponent. And rounded to the nearest hundredth again, or the nearest cent. Let's zoom in and do our old rounding rhyme. Is this 5 or above? 7? Yep, it is. We give it a shove then to 0.29, $347.29. She's gained over $47. It is hard to find a 5% interest rate, though. I'll be real with you guys there. If you can, though, take advantage of that every time, because your money will go up. And look what it says to end on: cash money. I love puns. Okay, that's it. Short and sweet. About 11 and a half minutes of this total video, meaning we did this assignment in about 11 minutes, 18 seconds. As always, hope this video finds you safe, happy, healthy, and well. Miss you all so much. Wishing you the best from afar. Until next time, this has been Class Away from Class. Bye-bye.